Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Just one quick reminder. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Richard, the team, and their guests as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow as financial advice. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I have a very special guest that you have probably heard before if you are on TikTok and see all the amazing things like Factor Cap. We have the one and only Party Shirt. How are y'all doing today?
Never better. Thanks for having us, Richard. It's great to be on.
Yes, sir.
Great Sunday and can't complain in the world.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. Well, excited to have both of you. I want to first, before we dive into all the amazing things you have going on with your amazing NFT project launching really soon called Superstars. Before we dive into all of that, I want to first learn a little bit more about both of you. Can you give us a little background on yourselves?
Yeah, so just quickly on me, born and raised in Australia, sort of always have been interested in entertainment and sort of business. So I had a startup when I was in high school. We raised a couple million in venture capital. I moved out to LA to run that. We ended up selling that. I went to USC, got interested in music, and that's how I connected with Ivy. And that was about 2016, and we've been working together since. So.
Yeah, and then I'm from Orange County. And then my best friend from high school was his roommate in college at USC. So that's how we got connected. And then I pretty much just lived with them while they were at USC, just couch surfing. And then however many years later, here we are. Like finally decided to move back in like 2019. Yep. And then we're like, all right, let's really do this thing.
No, that's great. And I mean, talk about timing. You moved in together in 2019, right before the pandemic. So, yeah, I mean, it's like it was destined.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And the fact that, y'all been working together for roughly 6 years now, and both have experiences building businesses in music, and then having that, that not just business relationship, but kind of friendship, right? It comes out authentically even through y'all's TikTok, which is Party Shirt. Real quick, I just want to spend a moment on that. Like, what was the impetus of creating that like social media account, and like how did y'all have y'all been building it ever since?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we started out as DJs, we were like, okay, like, what's going to set us apart? And like the person trending at the time was Fisher. And we're like, why is this guy so big? Because he had like his whole YouTube series, like Follow the Fish. And he was just like a comedian. So we were like, all right, we both have a love for like content creation. So we were like, all right, like while we're DJing, let's also make like content, make like funny SNL type skits and just like, honestly, just like crazy videos in general. So we started doing that. And then, once the pandemic hit, we were like, okay, let's release a song through TikTok, did that. Song went #1 viral on TikTok. So that got us the small following. And then we were like, well, I mean, this is a great app. Like it's only growing from here on out. Like we might as well, and we love content creation. So we might as well just keep, staying relevant on here and putting out content just to like build up another platform.
Definitely. And it's fun to see the progression of like the original reason that y'all got into it was to be able to connect with your fans and to be a little bit different with your DJing and creating music that eventually went viral and has had a snowball of success that has come in in this direction. But what's really cool about this is that now you're deciding to kind of pivot and bring some of this energy towards crypto into the NFT space. But really quickly, before we dive into that side, when did y'all even first hear about cryptocurrency or NFTs or any of this? Like when was y'all's first introduction into this space?
So mine was around 2017. I'd sort of, bought some Litecoin. Well, like, before that, you'd hear about Bitcoin and stuff on the news. But, when I really got into it was 2017, got into some Litecoin when it was like about, $40, started really taking off in that 2017 ICO boom. And then, me and a few friends were thinking about making our own token, and it was going to be called Entertainium, and we wanted to put ticketing on the blockchain. Because we're like, there's this huge problem of scalpers and bots, and this is how we can do it, where we can, make you can resell it for X, Y, Z, right? Like maybe 10% above, face value. I guess that's an early version of some sort of NFT stuff, right? Where there's an asset you own and it's in your wallet. But then sort of Ticketmaster had a bunch of patents around that, and then the ICO thing just fell out of the arse, and then we'll just the SEC started getting in, and it was like, is this a security? Is this not? And all that. So we're like, all right, we're probably in over our heads on this. Let's take a step back. And then that's when Ivy and me really kicked up the gear on Party Shirt. And then last year we had gotten into, NFTs just sort of as day traders. And we'd seen a bunch of influencers sort of jump into space, but it was like they would stay till mint and they wouldn't even really know what's going on, and they'd dip. And so it just felt like icky and just something we didn't really want to touch unless we knew we could add value.
Yeah.
So one of our buddies, he was a co-founder of the In-Betweeners project with Gian Piero and Justin Bieber. And he used to manage us. He used to work at Scooter Braun Projects. And then reached out to us about doing something cool. He already had a great team, and he's like, hey, let's just chat. So we went over, started brainstorming. Ivy came up with the idea of Superstars, and pretty quickly we figured out the rest and how we can factor in a part of our career for the long term. Right, not only do we understand the underlying technologies, we're in it from the mint, we come up with the idea, we're in the Discord grinding with everyone, but this is something that's going to live way, way past mint, right? We want it to be till the end of our career, which is hopefully after we die, and then it says how it would, be a meaningful part of our career, and how we could, the holders participate in stuff we do, how they could help stuff that we want to do, and it just great.
Yeah.
No, and that is really cool. And now that we are kind of diving more into Superstars, and pretty amazing that you had someone who had already worked with another celebrity group, and not someone very lightly talking about Justin Bieber and what they were able to bring to market, to be able to work with that team, to be able to bring Superstars to market and bring that vision alive. And like you said, you want to build something that will outlive you, right? And will build and bring value to your true fans and to the people who are owning these NFTs. So let's break down Superstars. So what are Superstars? And if they were to mint these, you also have a lot of utilities. We're talking events, apparel, incubator, etc. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so there's a ton of different utilities. We got, the obvious ones and how they can relate to our fans is right. We've got a movie that we're working on. We've got a cookbook that's pretty much, we're just in the process of selling it right now. Got a TV show, so we've got all these different traditional things, right, that when you grow up, that's how you envision superstars, right? Like, kids these days, there's no difference between a TikToker and a movie star, right, for the most part. But, to our generation and older, there's a very still clear line. And so as we get into these, sort of traditional things, and it's like letting everyone feel like that superstar, right? They might be a background actor in our movie if they're a holder, might be able to submit a recipe to our book, might be able to tell us what factor caps we should test, might be able to somehow appear in the TV show. Like, give them these cool traditional experiences that you can't just sort of buy on eBay. So there's that factor, right? We've got some other cool stuff, like we're going to give away a bus.
Right.
We've really been having for NFT March 31st, we're hosting an event. We've got a cool merch lab with Connor Tomatoes. But that's another thing. A lot of the merch feels very cheesy.
It's so merchy, It's like, no, we actually want to make like something that's like, you could have no idea what the project is and just be like, yo, that's a sick t-shirt.
Exactly. Like even the Bored Ape Yacht Club merch, it's like, I don't want to say cringy when I see someone wearing it, but it's, I don't know. If Bored Ape Yacht Club wasn't a thing, would you wear it? Fuck no.
Yeah.
And so, we want to make, merch that like it represents a brand and it tells a story. And we've actually got a really cool story about the graphic we're using. But it's like, You don't even have to know what Superstars or NFTs are, and you're like, I need that. So we got, some cool stuff on the merch side, and also we're talking to a really big box retailer about stocking some of it. So there's going to be some exclusively for the holders, some that, spread the word, everyone can buy it. And then so there's stuff on there. The cool thing about where we're at is that because we're over 20 million followers on TikTok, a lot of brands reach out to work with us. And so we've developed these close relationships with these, Fortune 100 companies, and we've already proven results to them. So they already are down to work with us on this NFT thing. That's where I think a lot of NFT projects struggle with, right? You got undoxed founders who could be 14 years old, as we continually see high-end designers off Fiverr. What big brands it doesn't matter how much they raise, what big brands going to want to work with these people if it could ruin their reputation? So I think we're in a very special position of we're doxed. Yeah. We have a long history of great work with brands. They want to dip into the NFT Web3 space, and they're looking for the right partners. And there's not a lot of great partners out there at the moment. So I think we offer something unique in that too, where I think we can bring a lot of these big Fortune 100 companies on, get them on the Web3 space, get them to participate in our project. And I think that's something really unique and really valuable.
Definitely.
So let's spend a moment there talking about the partnership side of it. Because as you said, there are a lot of undoxed NFT projects, and we have seen a lot of not great things come from it. And we are looking to prop up this NFT space, as I believe NFTs are the easiest onboarding tool for crypto mass adoption, right? Yes. A lot of people are understanding and are getting more involved in the crypto space, not because they want to go own Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera. They want to go own an NFT. They want to be part of this next wave, aka Web 3.0, and be a part of this opportunity. A lot of people within the TikTok community can immediately see like, oh, I can make my music turn into an NFT. Oh, I can turn my art, turn it into an NFT and have it be residual income for the rest of my life. Yes. As you look at your roadmap and things that you're trying to build out, and you are looking at potential partners, how do you think you'll be able to work hand in hand with them to be able to bring that value? Well, have it be a two-way street where your partners are bringing value to your end customer, of course, or whoever's owning your NFT holders. But then, of course, for your NFT holders, them being in a place to where it's valuable back to the partners. Like, how do you see that relationship working?
Right. I think right now there's a few different things, and it's going to, as NFTs move through the different market cycle, it's going to change, right? Right now, NFTs are very cool in the right way, right? Because it's like it's going from that sort of your mum's basement, with your back acne, to like, all right, there's a lot of cool people jumping in the space, celebrities are jumping in the space. So a lot of brands do want to align themselves with Web3 and NFTs. But they're just being cautious about what partners they do and how they do it. Right. Because there's so many bad actors still, right? I mean, the Pixel One thing, I'm a holder, sadly, and, complete rug. And so it's like even a project that, raised the most, did all these things, had all these huge people backing it in the space, still proved to be crap. So, I think right now it makes sense for brands just on that side to align themselves. But, we're talking to some other ones, some ghost kitchens about doing like lifetime offers, right? Where if you hold, some of our NFT might have free tacos for life. And so you're able to order from this ghost kitchen, once a day, once a week, whatever it is, and get a free taco. And, it makes sense to them because sort of the same model, why does McDonald's give away stuff for free with the app, right? Because they've got you in there. And then you're going to buy a soda, you're going to buy, a side of, whatever. So I think there's some, valuable in sort of that, the group discount thing, right? How Groupon works, right? It doesn't make sense to give one person this discount, but you give it to 50 people, the economics start to make sense. And so I think there's some stuff around there, obviously it's going to depend on which brand and what the initiative is. Something we're going to do for a big box retailer might be different than something we do for someone for cosmetics, might be something we do something for food. So every partnership is unique, but, when you've got, 5,000 holders who are dedicated, who are interested, who, they're going to be putting a lot for the brand, right? It's going to build a connection with them. It starts to make a lot of sense.
Definitely. That was actually going to be another question of mine. So for the mint, whenever that does eventually happen, it'll be for 5,000 unique NFTs
10,000 or 10,000 pegs, but just sort of based on, how that sort of goes. You normally look at 5,000 holders. I mean, ideally more, right? Like ideally we have 10,000 holders, but realistically, right, people like to double down on projects they love. Yeah.
Exactly. And you end up getting more than one. Now, a secondary question of that, something that was very interesting to me was the concept of having an incubator for your NFT holders and being able to support them across their journey. Can you kind of walk through what that potentially could look like? Like, for example, if you have a young aspiring TikToker that's looking to grow their profile and figure out unique strategies, what an incubator potentially look like, finding some of that young talent within it and being able to help them along their journey? Or would it be something where someone has a unique idea to start their own NFT kind of project and you help them along their way? Can you kind of just walk through what that potentially could look like?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about it all. We kind of really want to create a community because it's like me and X, we went through the grind. Like, we didn't have much help, so we know how to do it at the bare minimum floor of just us too. So we were like, okay, how can we build a community to where we can show these people the shortcuts? We can give them the tips and tricks, and also not only that, but build a community where you have someone that knows X and someone that knows Z. Okay, you guys put your stuff together and then you help each other create your own, almost, it's pretty much just like an umbrella, like just trying to like put out multiple facets of just creation in general and just have the people use their strengths and weaknesses to their ability.
100%. It doesn't even have to be like TikToker with TikToker,
exactly,
right? There could be a musician who wants to work with a TikToker to make a song, or it could be, someone trying to crack into acting and we have a famous actor who's just down to be part of the community and share some of the helpful tips or connect them to the right, agent or manager or whatever. So really, because, Y Combinator, I'm not too sure, if you're familiar with the tech space, but, Y Combinator is sort of that breeding ground of like, you don't learn that much in the startup school, right? Then them 3 months, the summer or the winter program. I mean, I'm sure you learn a bit, right? But you could read Paul Graham's essays and probably get the same value. The community and the sort of the connections you make there is a true value, right? Because people are going through the same struggles as you. And you also have alumni who have learned, right?
Exactly.
So they have the shortcuts for you. And, we're going to be that early alumni. But as the community grows and as they become successful, ideally they, stay with the community and then teach the new ones. And it's sort of that, maybe
bringing the people that we know on to like in their specific field to do AMAs and everything like that. And really just, open these people up or our holders up to the world that we are exposed to and the people that we know that have helped us or in any field,
Yeah, it took us 6 years to get where we are and it takes some TikTokers 3 months. So why is that big gap? How can we shorten that gap for everyone?
Yeah, no, that's great. And being able to provide resources and being a master connector of people and resources to help people move along faster is always powerful. When you talk about, you just made the correlation of the accelerator, Y Combinator, and even college, right? When you go to college, yes, you're going there for an education, but you're more going for access to the alumni and for the people you're going to be meeting there, right? Because they're going to be future connections to help get you to where you're trying to go into your career. And so a place like Party Shirt, owning one of these superstars, now hopefully you're part of a community that not only will y'all be helping to provide some of these resources, but the people within your own community can help to facilitate some of that as well.
100%, exactly. Like obviously we're going to lay the seeds of the community, but we want it to flourish and that it's sort of a self-sustaining and it just continues to grow and get stronger as it's sort of like SNL, right? When people, started SNL and become successful and leave it, it only helps the SNL brand.
For sure. And there's one of the things that you brought up earlier that I do want to go back and revisit, which I think is extremely unique because I haven't heard this from a lot of NFT projects. The fact that y'all are going and building out a movie, right? So is this going to be something in the sense of your NFT holders potentially can find a way to be involved or they can be part of the profit share when this movie is a potential success? Like how would that potential relationship look like?
It's really going to depend on how we sell the movie because if like this is our first movie, right? Like we don't have too much leverage. So we're obviously shopping around to production companies. They sort of take the whole thing and then they try and sell it to a streaming service or, maybe we go direct to theater. So it's sort of like that, it's not like a TikTok where it's like we have complete control, like when you get into these bigger projects, it's like you start having 300, like it blows my mind still how many people need to be involved in these sort of traditional things, right? Like you can make a song in your bedroom and put it out, and you're like, this is the same as Kanye West making it, but it's like he's got a team of 100 people, you know. So profit sharing, don't know, likely not, right? We're not going to be funding the movie with any of the mint money,
thing,
you know. If we're using
where it's like if we did create, which because we've been in talks, we're like, okay, like say we do mint this, we set up some media properties, we create a podcast. That's something then where we can feed back a percentage of the profits back into the whole
things that we start and we don't need to sign on a production company or sign on this and sign on that. Things that we can just do ourselves or just use, you know, some of the funds from the mint to fund these projects. And obviously we're going to feed back those profits to the holders.
Yeah.
For the movie side, it's going to be more like you're a background actor. Yeah. Or maybe you get credits and stuff. And
yeah, that one's tough just because it's so third party now.
Because you got people putting up $10, $20 million to make the movie. You know, they sort of get to say when they put up the money.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. All the same, it's the fact that for someone who's always wanted to potentially either be a part of a movie production or have their hand in it, now they're at least having access and exposure to that world just from being an owner of this utility that is a superstar NFT. So there's a lot of value that you're trying to pack into this, and I'm sure there's even more that's going to be coming. But if you had to tell someone right now who's listening to this and they're saying, wow, this is really interesting, or maybe I've never heard of Party Shirt, but what you're saying is really cool, why would someone want to be a part of this community and own one of these superstars?
There's really such a variety of reasons, right? Because obviously, you know, we want the crypto people to invest too. And look, a lot of these crypto people don't give a fuck about sending in a recipe or being a background actor, right? Like these people are normally anonymous, you know, and they're kind of really... So we want to add value doing these other things, right? These massive brand partnerships, you know, doing these more bigger merch retail things where it's almost like creating a clothing brand rather than doing a limited run of a merch that I just wouldn't want to ever wear. Like, we're done with the Dobrik Logan Paul merch, and that's what a lot of these NFT brands are doing, and it's just shit. So we're getting away from that. We're creating a real streetwear brand almost, you know, and then also create these media properties that are going to feed back, and there's going to be some profit sharing.
Yeah.
So I think those are going to appeal more to sort of those alpha chats and more the crypto investors. And then we've obviously, you know, 20 million followers. Some of our fans want to get it and interact with us. What we didn't want, though, is what a lot of influencers do is just make it like a really expensive meet and greet, you know? Yeah. And that's not what we're doing here. Like, that's the last thing, right? We're going to do the cool DJ events, and we're going to give holders access and all, you know, that's just a given. But we're not making that the project all about that, which is what you see from a lot of influencers, and it's just yucky.
Yeah, we basically just want to kind of like everything we do from here on out in our career to be like cohesive with the Web3. So it's almost like, hey, you're investing in the like project Party Shirt. Like you're going to be in this for our career, and it's going to build, you're going to help us build, you know, it's just like you're investing in a stock, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. You're not owning a piece of Party Shirt, but you're owning a piece of some of the stuff that we do.
Right.
Yeah. And coming along for the journey. A good way to, like you kind of just framed it, is you're an early investor in the trajectory of our growth. And because you are said early investor, you are going to benefit from the future of our successes and being a part of this journey with us. Oh, and I want to reemphasize that because you actually just mentioned it, and I really want to pull that out because unfortunately there has been a lot of early influencers who have created NFT projects, and I don't want to call them necessarily a rug pull, but they come out, they mint, they give one thing of value maybe, and then they just disappear and say, I minted, I made all this money, and you disappear into the background. And what I've appreciated, you know, before we've gotten on this and even talking through this today, is that it sounds like you truly and genuinely have a plan to build this out, have this be a long-term play, and that you aren't in this to make a quick buck and disappear.
Right. 100%. And that's why we built a team from the start. Because, you know, a lot of these projects probably have a developer, someone from Fiverr doing the graphics, and like, that's it. Like we have an office in Venice, well, which is just at someone's house. But it's like, you know, 10 of us working on the project, like a really talented, you know, community manager, designer, you know, sort of operations guy, sort of CEO guy, you know, just sort of everyone. We got a developer who went to, you know, Brown, really smart kid. And so we've got a really core team that I love working with and that we're excited to work with for however next long.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's, you know, I forgot what I was even going to say right there. What were we just talking about?
No, you're all good. Basically, just the reason why this isn't going to be a project that disappears.
Oh, right. So, and right off the bat too, we were like, okay, we've kind of been slow on the rollout in terms of publicly, and getting everyone in the Discord, because we're like, okay, we want to lock down like partnerships with brands and the utility. So it's like, once we do mint, we can be like, all right, guys, like, congrats on your holding, whatever. We have bam, 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 bam set up for you guys, because it's like you set it up early, so it buys you that time to start working on those bigger projects too. So they're not just sitting around waiting, being like, okay, well, what am I getting right now? Maybe I've talked to them, I've done a meet and greet, but I want to see some something that's truly special, Because
the NFT community, as soon as you give them something, it's like, what's next? What's next? What's next? So we do want to have those things set up so that they know they're getting value, and it's not like, oh, don't tell me I just got another meta card rug pull bullshit.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of the NFT space is, what have you done for me lately? Not what have you set up? So at least y'all are trying to get in front of that. And again, I know I'm excited to see what becomes of Superstars, and I'm looking forward to the mint. As we look through this, I always like to wrap up with a couple of fun questions at the end to wrap things up. I can't have y'all on the show without asking this, simply because I'm sure there's a lot of diehard Party Shirt fans that are listening to this, and people who are on TikTok.
Stop asking.
Not just the whitelist. I mean, of course, it'd be great to get the whitelist, but more than that is for those who are just starting their social journeys and they're trying to build their brand, they're trying to build that community. What would you say are like 1 to 2 pieces of wisdom that you've learned that you can impart to them?
One thing we've already said, first and foremost, we always say to everyone, everything is cringe until it's not cringe. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And if you own it, you own it.
That's the thing. Like, everything is corny. It's just choosing what brand of corny you're going to be. Yeah. Like, you could describe anything cool, and the way you could describe it, you could make it sound corny, It's really how you look at it. So you just got to be like, fuck it, don't care what people think. And you just really have to push past that. If you push past that, that's, half the work. The second part's just being consistent.
Yeah. Patience and consistency.
It took us 6 years to get where we're at today, really 5 years before we saw any sort of traction. At any point we could have given up and said, this isn't working, right? Some people try something for 2 weeks, it doesn't work, and they give up, So imagine, it's a mental thing. It's really just survival. It's just a game of survival.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all mental game. You just got to have the willpower, because you keep going, it's gonna happen eventually. Everyone's different. It's gonna happen at a different time for everyone. But if you stick to it and you believe in yourself, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's tough seeing, like, you see like Charli D'Amelio at 17 get 100 million followers, or Addison Rae get like 80 million at 19, and you can think like, I'm so late, this isn't going to happen, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
But and actors too, right? You said a Zendaya or a Tom Holland, you're like, damn, they're 20 and they're the biggest thing in the world. I've missed the boat. But you really got to look at, what about the other 90%? How old was Brad Pitt when he blew up? How old was Christopher Walken when he blew up? How old was, Madonna when she had her first hit? I don't know, she could have been young. But for a lot of people, it's like we see these cases of young, super successful, and we hyper-focus on them. But there's so many other major players that are, way older than
And everything's always evolving too. So it is always going to be fresh. Like, even when me and X got on TikTok, we were like, oh, we're too late. Like,
totally.
We're going to be able to grow, but we're not going to be, like, everyone who's a superstar on TikTok is like, that's who it's going to be from here on out.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think a way I like to construct it is, if you're running a race, let's say everyone's running a marathon right now, you have some absolute sprinters who are going to finish way before you. But like, whatever your pace is yours pace. You just got to stick with it and not give up on the race.
Oh, exactly. You're going to finish, And
then the thing is, you might, turtle in the hair. Like, there's a lot of people who, we've been cracking on since 2015, trying to make this happen in some sort of way, who would, were the biggest thing since sliced bread. Now they'd be lucky to get, 10 views on a tweet, and it's just sort of like, it's about, it really is a marathon.
Yeah. No, I definitely appreciate that insight and wisdom, and I'm sure everyone listening is as well. Now, you brought it up, so I'm going to keep it going. For people who want to potentially get on a whitelist, what would it take for them to be able to participate in that?
Yeah, we have a few different things. We got something called auditions, which is like, hey, we've got a few ideas, whether you want to make your own fact or cap or your own snack or yak, or, we got this funny thing with, get your grandma to say, Party Shirt told me I'm a superstar. And so we've got that thing for the fun people who want to be content creators.
Yeah.
For the people who are more shy, you can hit, like if you hit B list on our Discord, which I believe is level 5 to 10.
Yeah.
You're going to get automatic whitelist on that. And then we have some other things. So what I recommend to everyone is just jump in the Discord, hop in there. Everyone's super helpful. Feel free to ask any questions. Just click on that whitelist tab and you'll find something everyone can do.
Yeah. And we that's the thing too. We always keep things kind of fresh in there. So it's like, there's always different ways to get whitelisted in there, and we want to give out a ton. So
we want to make it as obviously we still want to add value to being on the whitelist. Right. We don't want to be just like you're in,
right?
But we want to make it like you're not like a crazy grind or
like the grinding in the Discord is just so like brain melting these days. We're like, no, let's do one option is grind maybe a little. Level 5 isn't crazy, but like. We have games in there, like trivia nights, like stuff like that. So we want to really like create the community to have fun in there.
Good. And it's good that y'all are putting those things in place because as y'all know, some of the chores that some of these Discord groups make you do to get on a whitelist can be
a full-time job.
It's a full-time job, and it's so disheartening when you're like, okay, like I just physically don't have that much time in the day to dedicate to that, And
then it's like you got to meet Project B to potentially get a whitelist on Project A, or the people that are like, you got to buy this merch to maybe get a whitelist. It's like, what are they going to do with that shit merch that they probably wouldn't even wear if they had the thing? Imagine buying the merch and you don't get the whitelist. What the hell do you do then?
Right. Then what? Yeah. So sounds like y'all have a good process for that. So for everyone listening, if you're interested in getting the whitelisted, you just got a couple ways to go do that. So make sure you do it. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. As we kind of wrap up here, I always like to finish on a final fun question, which is, what is a final thought that each of you would like to leave with everyone listening here today?
I guess,
terms of like crypto NFT or just
anything. It can be on anything.
I'll make one about Web3 NFTs, and Ivy can make it about something else. Let me try to think though. The thing is just like, I think, an interest just more about the space as a whole. I think we're going to need docs founders going forward because every day there's a new project proving why it's bad, that it's not. Squiggles, Pixelmon, and it's like, who are these people? Like Pixelmon spent less than an ETH on an Upwork developer to make artwork for a project they minted 70 million. Now, if that person's name and face was there from the start, would have they done that? Because there's consequences. Without consequences of like scamming $70 million, right? You go to Target, once you steal over $500, you got a felony. But it's okay to steal $70 million of Ethereum. So, I think we're going to need more and more docs founders with actual roadmaps, with an actual plan, especially as the big money comes into the space. They're not going to be wanting to work with, undoxed 14-year-olds.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was great. For me, I guess just like really be aware of the situation you're in and seize whatever you need to do. Just basically with anything, like at this point in our career, like this is just the example, like we have all these projects like coming up. So we were like, when we were presented with the NFT idea, we were like, okay, yeah, this is actually perfect.
Yes.
Like we can supply like a lot of utility. We can now build this into our careers for the rest of our lives because we're actually working on projects that are gonna, hopefully surpass us one day in longevity. Right. But yeah, like that, and then the never give up.
That's really
always
never.
Yourself,
and it's like, it's one of them things that you hear, and it doesn't make sense until it makes sense to you.
Exactly.
Something happens to everyone where it clicks, and you're like, "Fuck."
Yeah. There were a couple years, like the first 3 years of Party Share in general. Me and X were kind of like, we'd have really good months, and then we'd kind of like go like on a little hiatus of like working off the project, and then like, so it is just
because we were maintaining full-time jobs, it's not like we're just rich kids that can like sort of just parents are funding our little creative life.
It's like we're working all day and then we come back. It's so hard to like, just have the mental, strength to start working on something else you're passionate about. So, patience, sticking to the grind, regardless if it's for 10 minutes a day, if that's all you can get in, that's all you can get in, but yeah, really just like, because you only have one life. You might as well do what you want, or at least attempt to do what you want the whole time.
That's it. The number one regret, when she worked in hospice, she wrote a great book on it, but probably seen it, The 5 Regrets of People Dying. The number one regret, besides love, besides family and all that important stuff, is always, I wish I had the courage to live the life I wanted to live.
Yeah. So that's a great final thought of, like you said, seize the moment, seize this day. It's a marathon. Keep persisting. It's not always going to be easy, but just do something 10 minutes a day and keep it pushing, and it comes. But you have to just stay the course, and a lot of amazing opportunities will come from it. So I appreciate both of y'all's final thoughts. I think both of those were amazing. I appreciate y'all's time. For anyone that's looking to learn more about Party Shirt and also to learn more about Superstars, what are ways that people can connect with you?
We've got a website right now, Superstars.World, Superstars.World. You can hop on there, link to the Discord, to the Twitter and all of that. You could also go on Twitter and just type in Superstars NFT, or, at Party Shirt on Twitter and find the Discord and the Superstars link through there. So check it out. Obviously, we're on, TikTok, we're on YouTube at Party Shirt. But if you want to learn more about the project, hop over to Twitter, hop over to the website, and, maybe there'll be a link somewhere here just directing you to there.
Absolutely. We'll have all those links in the show notes. Well, again, I appreciate both of y'all for staying by. Everyone listening, absolutely. Everyone listening, make sure you go check them out and do what you can on their Discord to try to get whitelisted. And of course, stay cryptocurrent.